My life sure has changed. From being wanted by the law to being the law myself. Being the one responsible for perpetrators being brought to justice. Justice. An interesting way of describing what it is that we do when we catch and hang those suspected of working for the enemy. Yes, the Purple Hand are causing great harm. There's no doubt about that. But is there truly no way to rehabilitate people? Is death the only way? The weight of my actions, or lack thereof perhaps, are growing heavier by the day. I do take solace in my friends, though, in not being alone in all this. They've saved my life more times than I can count, and when I'm with them, it just makes sense. We've seen so much together, and I have a feeling we have much yet still to see. I'll have to try to get rid of that weight on my soul somehow. Perhaps some time away from Middenheim will help take my mind off of things. Perhaps. This is Red Moon Roleplay.
Gerner Stark. It's been a few days since your adventure in the Undercity with the heroes of Middenheim. Everything seems to have sorted itself out for now. You were dismissed from service, from the commission, although that doesn't dismiss you, of course, from your other duties. How have you been feeling since that all happened?
I try not to think about it because of how terrifying that was. That must have been a demon that tore its way out of that cultist woman. It didn't seem like it was intended. It seemed like it just took over everything, and I just remember running, but I can't forget that face, that hideous face with those teeth and those eyes. I think the rest of the guard just fell upon it, but me, I just ran, and I feel ashamed that I did. At the same time, I am frightened. What if I stumble onto something like that again? Would I stand my ground then? Would I be able to? It could easily bite my head off if I froze.
That it could, Gerner, that it could. Still, for now, you find yourself in one of the taverns of the city, temporary accommodation, of course, as you just wait and see what's asked of you next. You do get someone coming by and informing you that they don't think it's necessary for you to do the interrogation of that witch. They're apparently being dealt with.
Yes, I would assume they are. Me. Yeah, they're saving me for other things. I assume just being there would make people uneasy again, although it hasn't been that bad. Actually, when we did our expedition, it didn't feel like I was being treated that much as an outsider, just because of being what I am. I suppose it would have been interesting to learn a little bit more. I don't even understand what they're working with or for. What is this Purple Hand? I encountered it so long ago now and far away. That one night at that tavern, way back when I met Sebastian for the first time. That was it. That was the first time I saw that marking of a purple hand. I wonder what they're all about.
No one really seems to want to tell you, although if you do ask some of the watch on the street, the ones you recognise from the night before, you are given a simple story. They are a cult of the archenemy, and they are being dealt with. Apparently, there have been several hangings, and quite a lot of people have died recently who were part of the cult. They apparently were somehow involved in this tax scheme, a horrible conspiracy set to instigate chaos and misfortune in the city of Middenheim. And that's all you get from them.
A tax scheme. Well, it explains why they wouldn't involve a lawyer, if that was what he was, because apparently he had quite a strong connection to the magical powers, though they were raw, not properly trained, not academy trained, that's for sure. Maybe some odd witch somewhere had taught him that. How do people learn these things if not through the official ways? Without burning themselves out?
Not something you'd know the answers to, Gerner. After all, you've only been taught the correct way. Still, it says you're thinking these thoughts that you get a little knock on the door of your tavern room.
Who's there?
The door opens. In steps in a man. Sharp-nosed, long dark beard, quite thin. He's dressed in some grey robes, although he does have a sword at his side attached by a belt. He's also got a small pointed hat on. He glances around and collects from his belt a vial of something. Looks like a drink, which he then quickly swings. Okay, right. Yeah, here we are. You Gerner Stark. There you are. Sit.
Could it be, I say, and I first just lean back a bit casually in my chair. Could it be Mr. Schultz, perhaps?
Aye, there you are. Perceptive. Good. And he moves to sit next to you at the table you were currently seated at in your room after closing the door. So, my replacement. You look like you've barely even seen 10 summers.
Yeah, and you look like you've seen the worst of the place.
Oh, seen things, kid. Seen things. So, here you are. Let's get it out of the way first of all. He suddenly stands and puts a hand on his sword. You bringing me in for some trumped-up charges of heresy and witchcraft?
No, not unless you would give me a reason for.
Ha! As if the Grey College ever needed a reason.
I stand up as well. So what brings me the pleasure?
Well, you're here, ain't you? Not here to kill me. Great. But you're here to replace me. Don't think I don't know what's going on.
Well, what exactly is going on?
Plenty! I was busy, yeah? Oh, where's the reports? I've been busy. He leans forward, his breath stinks of alcohol. Busy. Guess how many of my contacts are dead? Guess how many? Aye?
Is that what you're running from by drinking all that? I point towards the vial that he swept.
He looks at the vial, sniffs it a little. What's wrong with having a drink? You're one of those like, oh, wizards can't have a drink. I can have a drink and I can stop whenever I want. You drink after what I've seen. You didn't answer my question, boy. Guess how many?
Of your contacts have died? Well, I've never been a spy master in my first place. I couldn't say how many contacts you would have.
7! All dead.
Oh, and what were they looking for?
Tracking that necromancer, of course. They've not told you anything.
Necromancer? What necromancer?
You're my replacement. You! What necromancer, he says? Vizier Baha. Or Baha. Vizier's not his name, it's a title. It's an Arabian title. He was hiding out in the fucking sewers. I've been searching for him for 2 months. But guess what? Turned out he, of all the necromancers, decided to join up with those purple hands. And that's obviously where he's been hiding. But guess what? Guess who caught him? Not me. The heroes of Middenheim.
Heroes of Middenheim. I heard.
Exactly. Oh, you did. There you go. You do know something. So now it's, oh, what's Richter been up to? Oh, what are the Magis and Vigilants up to? I was fucking trying, alright?
Look, I understand. I'm not here to, on my own impulse, take anyone's job. I was sent to do that, and obviously I didn't have that job either, because they took care of it already. So now I'm just staying around, being ready for service until the next time they call for me is all.
That right. He gives you an obsessive look.
If your work is not there just as mine, then why don't you just kick that for a bit and maybe we can look into solving something together.
Kick back for a bit, he says. Kick back.
No, I mean kick the drink. That's what they're saying about you in the guild. It's not me saying this. It's them saying that you're drunk in the gutter somewhere.
Who cares what they think? They don't care about me, and don't get me wrong, boy, they're not going to care about you either. You're one of us. You're a grey wizard. You're not going to be making friends, especially being a vigilant. Who's on your suspect list so far other than me, eh? What do you think? The guildmaster? Deputy head? Met any other wizards?
Should I be suspicious of you? And I actually lean in at this point and I start looking at him. Is that what you're thinking that I should be?
No, of course not. I, fucking one of the few people around here who does our job correctly. But everyone suspects you, regardless. Doesn't matter if you do good work or bad work. That's something you're going to learn, kid. No one's going to respect you, even if you save the day. I heard about that little raid. I noticed they said Heroes of Middenheim, job well done. Didn't hear any word about one of us helping.
No, the dead seldom speak.
Exactly. How'd that go anyway? What did you find? I hear you got quite a haul.
You mean down on the raid when we were in the sewers?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there was quite a little den of what I understand was cultists there. They'd taken one of these so-called heroes, prisoner, and we interrupted them just in the middle of some sort of summoning ritual. I was able to stop some of it from happening, but some horrid thing came out of one of them, like out of her chest, some sort of demon. I don't know these things, but it was.
Ah, you stopped demon summoning. Brave of you. That could have gone very wrong for you.
Oh?
Dispelling rituals like that, yes. You know how the winds are. You're lucky it didn't suck you in. Good job.
What do you mean? A counter spell could grab hold of me in some sort of way?
Boy, what do you think happens when you counter spell? Did you think that you grab the winds and they just vanish into thin air? No, of course not. You direct them in a different direction. But what happens if, I don't know, he takes up his vial and shakes it a little. I try and throw this in the air. It's not going to do much damage, is it? Only a little vial. But what if I get a whole barrel of ale and throw that up in the air? It's going to spill, isn't it? Probably get some on me.
You mean the sheer amount of channel wind in itself is going to turn into something?
Yes, especially chaotic winds. Especially Dar wind. Have they taught you that? Well, to be fair, I won't be too hard on you. Sounds like you handled yourself well.
I have encountered the Dar wind a few times.
Really? How many witches you killed?
I actually get taken aback for a bit and just start thinking, how many witches have I killed? I haven't killed a single one. I've hardly killed anyone. As he asks me that, I don't answer. I just stand there and look at him, trying to not look too uncertain about what I'm about to say.
You are as green as a jade wizard, aren't you? 15. Maybe 16. I can't remember. Was one of them. I think she turned into two people at one point. Does that count? I can't remember. It was a fun day, he says, and he laughs. Although it's a laugh that doesn't actually sound amused. He kind of just idly pats that long sword by his belt.
Well, for your sake, I hope it wasn't that fun. Are you saying you're a magister yourself?
He lets out a sigh and then rubs the bridge of his nose. Alright, I'm going to stop making fun of you. Yes, if I wasn't, half our conversation would have been highly suspicious, and you'd actually be right to have tried to kill me.
I was wondering, why you would have been let in on those particular details.
Yes, I'm a magister vigilant just like you. Obviously, Middenheim lately has felt they only needed the one. But with recent events, well, now there's two of us. Don't worry, I'm not your superior. We don't technically have superiors, you know that. Even if, here you and I are skulking around in sewers while the High Patriarch sits in council tables in Altdorf.
Well, of course, but that's the way with most things, aren't they? I sit down again. I suppose we are on some sort of even footing. What exactly is it that you hope to accomplish? Do you want to stay here? Do you want to keep doing what it is that you're doing? It doesn't seem to be taking to you too well, if I'm honest.
Oh, I'd like to retire to the countryside, have a nice villa, some horses, lots of drink, and get a pat on the back from the Emperor for a job well done, and get the wizard retirement bonus. He grins.
I actually laugh a little at that. That does sound like a nice plan.
Lovely plan. Shame it doesn't happen. You work for the Empire until you die, boy. That's the point of being a wizard, especially a magister vigilant.
Of course.
So, any questions about what you saw? Sounds like you got to deal with some high cultists. Good for you. It's a good thing you got them. From what I've gathered, I reckon this might be the end of them. They really did, those heroes of Middenheim. Flush them out of the brickwork. I have to admit that is impressive. Don't know how they did it so effectively.
Yeah, I think they worked through that tax scheme that you mentioned somehow. I've been trying to catch up on it myself. But this purple hand then that they were serving, is that something you're very familiar with? Because I have encountered them outside of Middenheim too, and I was wondering what they're actually trying to do. Is it just terrorists?
They're trying to come up with some scheme or other that will serve their bastard master, the Lord of Change. And when he says that word, he does sober up for a second and just touch his sword for a moment. Something you shouldn't say too much in vain. Yes, they're a chaos cult. Yes, they've been around for hundreds of years. They like to skulk around in the shadows, pop up every now and again, and then pop back in. This whole tax scheme thing, incredible. Bloody incredible. I've just got the info myself. It was so bloody mundane. So stupid. They were behind the whole thing. That was the whole point. No one looked, because why would you fucking look at a tax scheme? There I was in sewers trying to find a bloody necromancer, and it turns out there I should have been hunting down pen pushers.
It sounds like it's very organized. I would have thought them a bit more blunt as well. Just like, yes, let's make violence happen.
No, they don't serve that one. They don't serve the blood letter. Now, those ones are very easy to find, because they are just going around clubbing people's heads and drinking their blood, you know?
Right. The blood letter, yeah.
Shh, again, don't just say it. Don't just say them. Even to speak the names of the arch enemies, gods, is unlucky. So just,
Yeah, you might be right. I don't... To me, just speaking words seems a little bit like superstition. And you mentioned art titles here a bit too loud for my own comfort, but...
Well, we've got some privacy here, I've seen to it. And you're a funny one. Superstition. Was it superstition when you said yourself, demon came out of her?
And the picture comes back into my mind and I shake my head. Something else then. I've been looking through these books and I mess about a bit with the books that I have on my desk. This one here, it mentions languages and secret signs. They never talk about this higher up lower down in the order, but are you experienced with the secret signs of the Grey Order?
No, I've never heard of any of the signs of the Grey Order. I've only been serving it for 20 years. Of course, I know some of I can teach you some signs, sure. And he gives you a little weird hand gesture and says, there you go, safe. Safe, it's safe, there you go. Finger up, pointing at the ceiling, do a little circle.
I start marking that down, and Is there any way I could read more about this? I'm thinking if you, I mean, you've been here for such a long time in Middenheim, then you must know everything about what's going around in the city.
To a point. Don't forget, I'm a bit of a failure right now. I wasn't able to find one necromancer in the whole Undercity. You went to the Undercity. Did it seem to you to be the sort of place where you could easily know where you're going? Even the gangs only have small little bits, and it takes them decades to learn those bits.
No, it was vast. It was sprawling. I was so surprised when I got in there first. I thought, well, I didn't know what to think, but that was going down, and then they said that was just the upper levels, the uppers they call them, and then supposedly there's the natural caves and...
Yeah, that's right. You don't want to go down there. Not yet. Even someone like me with spells that can protect you from the dark only helps so much. And he kind of just looks rather disturbed for a moment as he looks out the window.
I feel a bit of sympathy for him, just feeling how shook up I felt from what I saw, and he must have been through a lot. If he'd killed 15 witches or other wizards for whatever reasons, yeah, it would haunt me too, not knowing who to trust, no one trusting you. So, do you always drink alone?
Yes. And he stands up. I've got work to do. We'll meet again. I'd like to see you actually do something first, but if you actually are here to help, well, fuck it, I'll take the help. But you're going to need to prove yourself first, boy. You're going to need to learn some lessons, I reckon. And you're going to also need to go back to the guild house and make a nice little report on me. Just to be all clear, although, of course, again, the guild master's aware of who we are. No one else is. They have suspicions about me. They will suspect you eventually, but again, you know how it works. You don't confirm that or deny it.
Of course.
Yeah. One more thing, though.
Yes.
Heroes of Middenheim, you got to talk with them. What did you think of that Lady Marguerite von Wittgenstein?
She seemed like someone who was genuinely interested in helping people. Really. When we were down there in the expedition, the thing that she did mostly was taking care of anyone who's been wounded. And for a moment she did help me to stable myself when things got a bit rough as well. So she seems the right one.
Appearances can be deceiving. It's awfully funny, a noble like that just coming down to Middenheim on their own volition to help out folks, especially one with that name. They've got a bit of a history, the Wittgensteins.
Oh, really? Bad one, then?
You could say that. You could say we've got some files on them down at the college. One of their ancestors was potentially a bit of a naughty boy, never proven, though. And then, of course, well, their whole little home's been apparently a plague zone for God knows how many years, 3 or 4 at least, I think.
And it's something you feel like I should look into in case I come across her again, or?
Yes. Keep your ears open. People can be deceiving. Stark.
One thing.
Yes.
Before you go, I know not all wizards have the sight. Are you familiar with why there's so much of the Ger wind here?
That's hardly my business. Talk to people at the guild about that sort of thing. It's no one knows. I don't know. Big mountain, somewhere in the mountain, big source of Ger. I can't find it. No one can find it. You're welcome to go looking for it. You'll probably die in the process, though. Wherever it is, it's deep, deep down.
And for a second, I just imagined myself going up to the guild, putting up a poster about expedition, starting wizards who want to come with and discover the secrets of the Ger, come to me kind of thing. Right, yes, but no, for sure, looks can be deceiving. I know this. I'm just, I might look young, but I'm not that gullible.
And he leaves. What do you do as he leaves? This was your man. This was the one you were supposed to meet with. The one you know in your notes it did indeed say that you were supposed to check on him, and that maybe he had fallen from his duties.
I feel sympathy for him, still. At the same time, he should be doing his duty. Apparently he was doing it, and then lost a lot of his agents. And then again, he said appearances could be deceiving. Maybe this is what he wants people to believe that he is when he is actually doing a lot behind the scenes. I was thinking myself way back when I was down with their Sebastian about what sort of alias or alter ego I should paint of myself. What picture should I paint of myself? I'm an advisor, or I am this, or I am that. Maybe the picture of being a drunkard that's somewhere in the gutter just drinking his brains out is a good one to send to people that don't need to be alarmed until you're standing by their pillow with a dagger.
Time passes for you, Gerner. Days, weeks. You are not given any new orders. You go by the guild house and are congratulated for the work you've done, but you're then told that your time is your own. You are, after all, as far as they're concerned, a normal wizard, and normal wizards of your status, well, what do? Study magic? Learn things? Offer their services when needed? You suddenly find yourself having quite a bit of free time. The only thing you truly are told is that you are expected to stay in the city of Middenheim. After all, your Magister Vigilant duties are to watch the guild and watch your mentor. Watch. But it seems how you do that is left up to you. You're also being given a stipend. You weren't expecting that, but apparently the guildmaster does inform you that you are expected to be given some payment, although he doesn't disclose why. You think maybe that is your payment as a Magister Vigilant. And so it's 1 gold crown a week. And by the end of 3 months, you're going to have yourself 12 gold crowns. But what do you do then for the next 2 months? What do you try and learn? What do you try and gain? Seems you have several choices.
At the start of it, I don't do much besides reading. I try and learn more about this place, about any blanks that I have missed that I should know, especially if I am to be working in this city now. I look at houses, about different things, and I also start looking into these gods of the enemy that Richter mentioned. I didn't even know who this bloodletter was. Now it's not the same as the ones they're serving with the Purple Hand, someone else, and a chaos god of some sort. I probably should be knowing these things. There's a lot still. And yeah, that's what I start off with.
Well, the initial studies you do, of course, are completely fine. The guild has libraries, and the city has libraries, especially the Temple of Arena. It's when you start asking questions about chaotic research that then you get stares and people watching you. I would like you to make a charm roll, please, at a -10.
Alright, well that was a 48 then over 34.
The temples turn you away, saying they do not understand why a man of your station would need to know such things, and refer you back to your own guild. The guild master frowns a little as you talk with him one day in the office. Why? I do apologize. Why do you need to know this information? You are aware that such information is extremely dangerous and really only... And you're a wizard. People don't like wizards knowing about this sort of thing.
Well, I am to serve the Empire, and for me, this is just the enemies that have been mentioned to me as of late, and I'd rather know too much about my enemies than too little. That's all.
To know the enemy is to invite them in. To know the enemy is to damn your very soul. He leans forward very quietly. We are not going to let anyone know about this. I'm going to make a note, Gerner, and I'm going to remember your face. I'm going to remember that you asked me these questions, just so we're clear. I'll write it down now. I'm going to allow you into the library downstairs, the private library. You're going to be watched. You understand?
I nod. That's no problem for me, of course.
You are aware that such knowledge could lead to the destruction of your very soul, are you not? Just so we're clear.
Well, if you yourself have certain reservations about some things that I particularly shouldn't look into, then sure. For me, I'm more interested in the people that surround these supposed gods, I suppose.
Don't just say it so flippantly, my goodness, boy! He looks around, almost afraid for a second. Lesson number 1. To speak of them as you do so blasé invites them in. Do you wish for demons to stalk your dreams? Remember, you are a wizard. They seek us out most over others. We are more susceptible to possession.
I look at him, and I think for the first time, well, after Richter having said what he did and reacted in the way that he did, now that being reinforced by the guildmaster looking at me like this, it starts to sink in that he's serious. This is really dangerous. I nod slowly this time and I say, very well. I shall treat this with utmost delicacy and let you know if I suspect anything going in a way that it shouldn't.
When you are done, you are going to head to the Temple of Sigmar, and you are going to pray before Sigmar and pray for his guidance and his goodwill and all that. I don't care if you're actually a Sigmarite or not, you're going to do it, understood?
Understood.
He leads you down to the basements of the guild house. He leads you past the libraries they have down there to a quieter, darker room. Before you enter, he says, "Oh, just so we are clear, this library is approved by your very order. Just so we're clear, we do not have prescribed or illegal texts in this building, and no wizard, to my knowledge in our guild, would ever have such things. Such a wizard would, of course, immediately be given over to the authorities."
I turn and look at him, and I realize this interest in how those that actually do know what I am, they do seem to also have a point of proving themselves being innocent in their eyes of the Magister Vigilance. Even Richter did this. I say, I understand.
And you're allowed in. How many days are you going to spend down here? There's a lot of books. It's going to take a lot of time, even with the research skill. Would you like to commit the next week or so to this?
So, I think that this is what I'm going to commit my daytime activities to. I will be here during the days studying for as long as I feel like I'm not completely losing my trail of things. What I do in the evenings, that I think would be quite different. I will, as he said, I will go to the Temple of Sigmar and I will pray there every afternoon once I'm done. And in the very evening, I'm going to try and pick up a little side training. I realize that it would be very good to keep myself in shape, physically as well, and also to be able to hand myself such in case a fighting comes out. And with this new staff that I have received, it holds a few secrets. I am going to want to learn more about fighting. Maybe I could find a private tutor who could teach me. Or if I don't, I will find maybe a sort of underground fight club. These are the things that I'm trying to look into for my evenings, and then studies during the day, and then hopefully sleeping very heavily and soundly during the night.
Well, it's a busy month for you then, Gerner Stark. Your days in the library are hard. I'd like you to roll a research check to -10. It's hard because there's almost nothing here. There are some interesting texts on magic, you suppose, and some books on history, but most of this is very, very minimal, and of course you immediately learn why. This is allowed. If it was any more detailed, it wouldn't be allowed, and in fact you would be within your rights as a Magister Vigilant to have the Guildmaster arrested. But this is a private stash of books of the guild. There is a unspoken code here that you as a wizard yourself are not going to go randomly telling people about what's down here, and that you're not going to just go to a witch hunter who would have the whole place burnt down, including you, for even having mention of some of the books down here, even though you know they are completely and utterly safe and quite dull. But there is a little, so that's why I'd like you to take your roll.
I'm not a study head by any means. I'm not perfectly good at reading and getting to the bottom of things and trying to find secret clues. For goodness sake, in the name of Sigmar, I wanted to be a knight as a child. I'm a physical person, not a bookworm. But something about how challenging it is to dig things out of these books. Trying to get anything out of that shallow knowledge that they present in you with what's allowed and whatnot. It does get me to sit down and really focus. And I actually roll an 11. So is that a critical, or?
That is indeed a critical. 6 success levels automatic on a test like this. You persevere, and you do find out some things. There is no book on demonology down here, no book of chaotic or cultist rituals. There couldn't be. If there was, again, you could immediately have everyone in this building sent to the pyre. But there are some very subtle mentions. All in the service of defence, texts that are approved by the Order of the Silver Hammer, although you find out very quickly, according to the librarians who do work here, of course, fellow wizards, that if you really want more information, you're going to have to march up to a chapter house of the witch hunters, or a temple of Sigmar, and politely ask for it, and you're probably going to be refused, unless you're the guildmaster. After all, they don't want wizards knowing how this works. But the truth is, wizards do know how some of it works. You know how magic works. You are allowed to study magic. That's the whole point, as long as it's all legal. And there are some very interesting texts down here of the ancient history of the elves, the great maw, apparently a great vortex of the winds that is over the lands of Ulafan, the elven homeland. Fascinating. There is some stuff down here about research into Gur in the mountain. All very inconclusive, though. All everyone knows is that it's here, that this location is a strong wellspring of it deep, deep in the earth. It's not the only place in the world where this is a thing. There are several places in the world where the winds gather. But you want to know about demons. You want to know about chaos. There are no names in these books. Only aliases. The Changer of Ways. The Dark Prince. The Lord of Pestilence. The Skull King. The Blood God. The Bloodletter. It is believed that there are 4 major spheres of chaos. There are several smaller ones apparently, but these are the ones that have come up most often, and are those that most consider the Chaos Gods, the 4. They manifest in completely different ways. They have completely different greater and lesser demons. All are dangerous. All seek to destroy your soul. All could easily possess a wizard, especially when they are channeling or letting the magics flow through them. Especially in places where chaos is strong, and especially in places where things such as substance called warpstone are relevant. Warpstone, what is warpstone? On your critical success, there is some reference to it. Crystallized magic. It's like the winds, but solidified. Of course, this is a terrible thing. It makes the wind stagnate immediately, becoming a hideous substance. A hideous substance, though, that apparently is very, very powerful and full of dark energy and dark magic. Such a thing, of course, is completely illegal, and all good wizards must do their best to destroy it if they ever see it. Or at least let the Sigmarites know where it is so they can destroy it. What you learn on your critical success, you think that's all you're going to get. Any further would be considered heretical, or, really, you need to go to some of the most private libraries in the Empire. Most of them will be at the colleges themselves, at the temples of Sigmar, maybe the High Temple of Sigmar itself, and of course, in the hands of witch hunters. Or scholars. You do, in fact, note that there are a few citations here of a very famous scholar who apparently is quite knowledgeable in these things. The man is named Quintus Fassbinder, and his name comes up on 2 of the books you've actually read. Again, they don't all dwell on chaos for too long, but he does seem to know his business, and he apparently, you get the gossip, is considered a very brilliant scholar. He is also, gossip-wise, highly suspicious, and has clashed several times with the Order of Sigmar and the Witch Hunters. Apparently, the only reason he hasn't been burned at the stake is because he is officially approved by the Order of the Silver Hammer, and his work, apparently, the Emperor himself has said is actually in the defense of the Empire and not its downfall. But several people have wanted to have him on a pyre.
Interesting. Fascinating that the Emperor himself would even condone this and praise his work. Imagine if I could turn out a scholar like that. Quintus Fassbinder. Makes me feel like I'd need to do some research myself. That's not what I'm here for. But if they're not giving me anything else to do, I might as well compile something. And I keep notes of my findings and put it all together. Although I don't carry it with me. I actually leave it here in the library where it's safe, rather than someone finding notes of such things on my person that could look bad.
Certainly. What about the other activities? You wanted to find places to train your martial prowess, such as training grounds or fight clubs. Well, there's 2 paths there, Gerner. Obviously, the Square of Marshals and the Watch offer training. Granted, they don't offer it for free, but to you they might make an exception. The other alternative, of course, is the Low Kings. You've already met one. Well, a representative of one. Just an information broker. That dwarf, Half-Nose. He might know some places where there are some fight clubs.
Yeah, and as it was, that woman that we came by, the one that did help us, she was quite this fun one. She did actually invite me to get back and to contact with her as well. So maybe through Half-Nose and her. Yeah. I think I actually split my time between those 2 that you suggested. If I have to pay for a bit of tutelage, I don't mind too much. Because actually I do get paid for working or getting better at what I do. So I might spend a little bit of my wages for this training with the guard grounds, did you say?
The Square of Marshals.
The Square of Marshals, yeah. So I'll do that some days, and other days I'll probably head down there and, yeah, find myself back into contact with them, because they will teach you tricks that others people won't. A bit of dirty fighting, and whatever edge I can get in if such a situation should arise, I should probably know.
They don't offer you what you want exactly. The man apparently doesn't approve of that sort of thing. The man, who's that? Oh, right. The Low King, one of these Low Kings. But apparently down in the Orc Quarter, another Low King, known as the Big Cheese, Edam Gouda. He loves a bit of the underground fighting. If you want to go on that side of town, you can find your way in. You can pay a price and you can get into some very unpleasant, but very effective underground fights. However, you are aware that might draw a little bit of negative attention to you. People are going to see you down there, and they are going to talk about a strange wizard man. Unless, of course, you're very careful to make sure no one recognizes who you are down there.
I will be careful. I have disguises at this point. I have different outfits of clothes. I won't walk around there in a robe and with a staff. I will do my best to keep other appearances while I'm doing that. This tavern that I'm staying at is in fairly neutral grounds, so there are 2 sides of Gerner going in and out of that place that I try and keep discreetly to myself.
For some, that would be difficult, but you have the power of Ulgu on your side, and you have tricks, and so you are able to go under a false identity and appear in the pits of the Orc Quarter. It's a horrible place, the Orc Quarter. People would kill you for a coin down here. The streets are cluttered and narrow, and you go to some of the worst places. Hardened men and women, happy to spill blood. The coin being won is nothing. Silvers. People are dying for it though down here. And you learn an awful lot. You do a good job. You even think you get the eye of the man himself, a very large man with a very large mace. But he doesn't seem to want to actually talk to you, just watch you from the shadows. And so, those are how you spend your days. Sneaking to the Orc Quarter and dealing with the lowest of the low. And then, reading and learning. And improving your magic as you do so. And as you said, sometimes even being respectable and going to the marshals, taking part in drills, helping maybe on watch patrols. It is something wizards are expected to do.
Yes, I was actually hoping that I might do that. It would be nice even to, well, it's gonna be hard making any sort of friends, but if I could make any sort of drinking friends from just going on a watch with someone and then, yeah, joining for that afterwards, I think I would appreciate it.
I'd like you to make a charm roll at a -10. It would be a -20, but you have done something for the watch, so maybe it's a bit easier.
Alright. I roll a 32 under 34, then.
A very narrow success. Some people talk with you. Some men, some women. Some say you're alright. No one really wants to get to know you. They certainly do not ask you questions about magic like the others did. But, as the months go on, some of the watch do give you a little bit of a nod. You've proven that you do at least seem to be eager to help out, although you have to put up with an awful lot of comments about being a shady fella, or a shadow man, or are you sure you're not spying on us all from the shadows?
All this that I get, I am willing to stand. Especially if it means actually having some company, not just something I paid for or get sent on certain specific assignments, but actual people who actually talk to me. And I do write the occasional letter to Sebastian, have it sent away and wondering how he's doing. And I think I do that like maybe twice during this period. And then I keep to it. I do what I have to do. I join their patrols, assignments, and occasionally for a drink. And I study not too much of my magic now, just a little bit, because every day I keep having to bring out my grimoire. I cast the spell called Mutable Visage, and that way I keep an unrecognizable face for when I leave and for when I get down to the lower quarters and the low kings, and particularly when fighting around there with the big cheese around. Don't want to be recognized, and it works so far as I can tell.
It does. And the months pass on as the city goes through some tumultuous times, but you're not really paying attention to that. That's for other people. And you do stop by the guild as well, and the guildmaster does acknowledge you, although he does sometimes ask what you're up to. What do you tell him?
I tell him that I join the patrols, assignments with the watch as I'm needed. I try and keep my training up, and I actually just to keep an appearance for him and for the guild as well. There's been times when I had to even use small spells to make my face look slightly less messed up, because I don't want to walk around there showing everyone all the bruises that I carry from the fights that I do down in the quarters with the low kings. But I say part truths. I do go on the watches and the patrols, and aside from that, I study and I try to improve myself. And of course, since I need to be good at fighting as well, particularly for one such as me who might need to deal with a wizard in close combat to keep them from casting spells, it would be expected of me to be able to swing the staff that I have. And there comes a time there when I actually feel like, well, this particular gift that I was given down in Nuln, this staff that has a particular little finesse. It has a little mechanism inside of it that when you twist it in a certain way, the two ends of it, a blade ejects from one side and it can be used as a short spear. But this is not a wizard staff. So, for quite a bit of my money, I bring it over to those that enchant and those that create the wizarding staffs, and I ask if it's possible for me to replace this, or to have the enchantments cast on this one. Well, it's for me to be able to use this as my wizard staff as well.
It is indeed. You do have to pay, of course. A couple of gold crowns. A bit of a discount, you think, since you are a member of the guild. But it is approved, and your very special little staff is enchanted. A simple enchantment, of course, but, well, you know, it empowers your spellcasting, and among wizards they are highly valued items. Not something you want to tell normal people, though. They'll get a little twitchy if they hear you have a magical staff on you.
Yeah, not to mention thieves who would like to take it and maybe try and sell it. Though those things would take attention for them as well, so, yeah. The good thing about this is that this does not necessarily look like a wizard staff, whatever that people think that is, a gnarly old thing with strange shimmering around it. No, this looks like a grey wooden quarterstaff, but with these metallic clasps at the end and in the middle where it's twistable for that small blade to eject. I just call it my spare staff, but I need to be good at it. I need to be able to use it in case I need to. And I'm very grateful for the Graven that gave it to me all that time back then, because I was of service. Reminds me of that I am of service.
And so, Gerner Stark, your days come and go, becoming, well, a wizard of the city. But maybe it's not so bad. Until one day, you finally are actually directly summoned to the office. In attendance is the guildmaster, Albrecht, and someone you haven't seen for a while, though you have talked with him a few times, Richter Schultz. He has, on occasion, come by. He has, on occasion, answered more questions and taught you a few things, but he has largely kept to himself. But he's now in the office. The High Wizard looks at both of you. Right, come in, both of you. This is important. How are you today, Stark? You've been doing not too bad, settling in.
I have a black eye on this particular day, but I pretend as if it's not there, and if anyone asks, it's going to be from a recent patrol or my sparring with the guards. And I say, it's been treating me very well, thank you. I've learned a lot so far, and I believe I've been of service.
Haven't done badly, not badly. But anyway, time for both of you to get to work. I'm sure you've noticed that you haven't met the deputy head yet of the guild, Aina Ebenhauer.
No, I remember you mentioning her when I first came here. Has she been busy, I assume?
We don't know, because we don't know where she is.
Oh.
She was due to return weeks ago from her trip to Altdorf, and she has not. She left just before the festival ended. I don't want to say these words out loud, so I won't. There's a silence. Days before the festival ended. That was just when this conspiracy was unveiled and an awful lot of people were arrested and the Guild of Wizards of Middenheim was under deep scrutiny.
And of course, that time, a lot of people in high places turn out to be corrupt and involved. I understand what he is implying, and I nod. Yes, I understand.
I'm giving you permission to enter her house. It's on the Ulrichsmund district. Here are the keys. She normally lives here, but she has a townhouse there. You're both going to go, and you're going to find out where, in the old world, is she. She should be back by now. Where has she gone? She was supposed to be going to Altdorf to conduct some celestial matters. She's a member of the Celestial Wizards. And then return. And we have received no word. We don't know where she is, and I want to know where she is.
I feel a short little pang of jealousy. Wow, a real celestial wizard. They always have the best clothes. And I accept the key and I say, very good. Well, if I assume there's nothing else then, if you haven't heard anything at all. No one reporting anything, no one coming back?
No. I'd like you to conduct this quietly. Keep things to yourselves for now. Obviously, if you find evidence... He frowns. If you find evidence of something, you can deal with it, but... Again, She has always been an extremely valued member of this guild. She is a delightful young woman. She is a great and powerful wizard. I want to find out what's happened.
Of course, we will treat this with utmost discretion, and as far as we know, she is not a suspect until proven so. I look at Richter.
He just nods quietly, giving you a rather stern look. And before you know it, you're out of the guild and up high in the Ulrichsmund district. It's one of the higher districts in the city. Quite a lot of religious temples around here, especially to Ulrich. Her townhouse is nothing grand, although to a man who was once a peasant like yourself, it is a mansion. Several rooms, a living room, a dining room, a bedroom and a kitchen. The study of said house is filled with books and strange objects, telescopes, weird mechanical things that you think are something to do with the stars, and desks filled with papers. A very intricate study. As you're searching around the house, your friend speaks up. Well, I reckon we know what our dear guildmaster's getting at. He thinks she was involved in everything that happened and she did a runner. Certainly makes sense on paper.
Yeah, of course. Interesting folks, these blues ones, working so much with premonition and with the skies. I look at some particular strange contraptions. But have you, from the time you've been around here, you've surely must know a fair few things about this one, no?
I do. And it doesn't fit. She's a star, literally. Personable, charismatic, people actually like her, and not just because she's pretty. And she's earned her place as the deputy head. Nah, Albrecht's paranoid. He is, it don't make no sense. Her to have been involved with everything that happened. But, well, here's her place and she's not here. Where is she?
I start looking about, trying to find any sort of notes or anything, letters, something like that. Was she maybe invited to something, partaken to something outside of what her assignment in Altdorf?
Roll a perception roll. Give yourself a +10.
That's one level of success.
You begin searching around the house. You do notice something odd. You go to the bedroom, and you notice one of the windows has been left open. You quickly look and see there's an awful lot of snow and even rain that's been falling on the ground. This window's been open for some time. The room itself doesn't look that disturbed, but this window has been open for some time. You don't think anyone's noticed. It was very slight. Did someone come into this building through a window? You also notice, looking over several papers, that there's no real talk of her being invited anywhere, but there's an awful lot of research on astronavigation, celestial activity, lots of pictures of the stars. Not unusual for a celestial wizard, but quite focused. And then there is some letter about looking forward to talking with you down in Altdorf, and it's not no one's name on it. And there is then a little safe. Interesting. Don't think it's been locked.
Well, part of what I have to learn through my particular profession is picking locks as well, but lucky me if it isn't. I remark to Richter, so, is it, do you know if it's a habit for the people of the Blue Wind to leave windows open just to feel the sky a bit better?
No. No, look. Look at the latch. It's been mildly forced. Someone's been here. A long time ago. Weeks? Months?
Very little has been disturbed since then. I mean, obviously, what it indicates here, and look at the floor, it's been probably worked through with soak and snow. Yeah, it must have been going on for a while.
You look outside that window, and it is the back of the house. You're 1 story up, but looking down, the wall could be scaled. Someone with a rope could climb up here.
Probably someone sent on a very specific mission, looking for something, or trying to hide something. I turn myself to that safe then, and have a look at that. That would be my first place of suspicion that someone would have entered and taken something from.
You go down to look at the safe. There's some books in there. A couple of books on magic. Again, she is a wizard. To you, that's not suspicious. But there is one book that's a little unusual. Ruminations on the Stars. Written by someone called Dagmar von Wittgenstein.
Wittgenstein. Oh, how foolish. I've been so busy looking into all the other things that I forgot to look into the Wittgensteins. That's what Richter told me to do. What was it you said again about the Wittgensteins being involved in, some ancestor of the lady being involved in some shady business, I say as I start opening this book to have a look inside.
He comes over and sees you reading the book. He frowns. Is that a Dagmar von Wittgenstein you've got there? Oh dear. That is, well... The man was suspected of heresy. People were looking into it. He had a little bit of a name as an astrologer. About 70, 80 years ago, of course. Nothing ever came of it, though. He, apparently went home one day and vanished. No one heard from him again. No one really knows. It was all, kept hush-hush. You know how it is, a noble estate in the middle of nowhere. But that there... Interesting. You begin reading over the book. Its main topic, other than of course general ruminations on the stars, is on the orbits of the moon of Morsleep, the Chaos Moon. The ill-omened moon that often shines, not every night, but every now and again, a sickly green. An ill omen, a sign of doom, a sign of death, a sign of chaos. It is said that witches and cultists dance, naked in the woods, on nights where Morsleep shines bright.
This here, is this what's supposedly connected to the heresy? Do you know what it is that he did that caused him to be accused of such?
He was looking into the Chaos Moon. Even wizards are careful about that. Making assumptions, asking questions. No one knows. Again, we only just heard whispers of it, and then before we could ever really investigate the man, he was gone. He was a recluse. He left his family lands and went and built a tower somewhere by the River Reich.
Do you think that could have been where she set off to? What if she got obsessed with the same thing? I mean, obviously, if you're studying astral phenomenon, there could be something that someone young and foolish, I kind of look at myself, I gesture at myself, would want to know more about.
Maybe, oh no. Oh, Jana, no. Why would she just go off and not let anyone know? Damn it. I don't want her to have fallen. Not her. If she can fall. Ugh.
It's just, of course, a speculation at this point. I'm just saying that this could be one of the possibilities. Or, I mean, for all intents and matters, the window has been forced open. Someone could have snuck in and placed this book just here. They could have been planted. Imagine that one.
I could always ask that Lady von Wittgenstein. She'd know. That might be worth something. And here I was thinking this might be connected to the other disappearances. Although, this is different, of course. They've been leaving bodies. You have heard of that, haven't you? Or maybe you haven't. They've got that commission, the watch on it. Did you not sniff a little yourself? I did.
Well, bodies, you say?
Yes. About 3 bodies. 4th one, actually, just the other day. That one was at the college Phileugium. Seemed completely innocuous, but I've been having a little look with the watch on that, and I noticed something that was a bit unusual, other than, of course, that they were all killed with a strange blade and there's poison on it. Nothing unusual about that. I mean, obviously, not very nice, but not unusual. But I also noticed each crime scene had a small wisp of ulgu in the air.
Oh, I say, and I immediately try and read if he is suspecting me of anything.
There's no need to roll. He isn't. He sees you looking that way at him and says, "No, not normal oogle, okay? Something off about it, something different, not quite dar, something unusual. Very, very mild. I think I know what it is, but I need to make one more. I need to check something. Alright, you know what? You've not done too badly, You're not done too badly. I think I can let you know a little bit what I'll be working on, but not here, alright?
Alright, but what's this college Phileugium? What do you study at there?
You know, maths, science, history. The college Phileugium, where all the scholars and professors are.
Yes, of course. And I feel like I have just been so shut in this whole time that I'm here, but maybe after a few years I'll actually know about all these places, of course, in the city.
It is a vast and grand city. There are several places here. It's almost as large as Altdorf.
Of course. I'll give myself a little respite. But thinking about this, and someone has come in. Are there any other traces that anything has been left out of order or strangely manipulated in any kind of way? Or is it just that one thing? The window's open, but no trace of something being tussled with or destroyed or raffled through?
Not really. You do find some evidence that there were some suitcases packed. Someone was going to go on a trip, but they haven't taken their suitcases with them.
What's in the cases?
Clothing, books, pen and parchment, telescopes.
Yeah, well, as Richter seems to have more research to do, I say, right, so would you like me to come with you and we talk more about these things in a private place?
No. You suddenly see him looking out the window. No, we don't leave together. We leave separately. We might be being watched.
I nod and I say, yeah, well, alright, good idea.
Meet me down in the Sudor district. There's an alley there. It's by a tavern, the what's it called again? Oh yeah, the Old Mare. Meet me there. I'm going to take you to somewhere. I'm going to show you some things. I've been working on something lately. I know you keep thinking I've been working on nothing. I've been trying. But what I've been working on, if you talk about it too, just not here. Not where other people can be listening. They have ears. They have ears in more places than you think. Meet me there tonight. Yes?
I nod slowly with a little grin and I'm thinking to myself that, yeah, looks can be deceiving. He's definitely putting on an act just to appear more harmless than he is. Very good. Tonight at the Old Mare, I'll be there.
And so you head there in the middle of the night, down to the Sudor district. Again, not a rundown district by any means, it's the most southern district. The main gates of the city, at least one of them, are there. But there are, like everywhere in Middenheim, alleyways, hidden behind stone stairs. This one seems to be... you smell on the air. Sewer. Must be near a sewer entrance. You look down to a dark alleyway. This must be the alleyway, but it's pitch black at the end. There is no lamp lights here. You don't see anyone down there. What do you do?
I stand there for a bit, wondering if he's going to show up or not. When he doesn't, I'll probably take my time and if after a bit of time, when it's dark still, and he doesn't appear, I'll do my spell of Wandering Shadow, and I'll let it have a look down the alleyway, see if I can hear or make anything out down there that I can't see from here.
You wait a few moments. You begin casting your spell. No roll needed. You're not under any duress, and you are in the shadows. A spell like this is very easy to cast here. You send your shadow out into the darkness. Your shadow can't see better than you, but it can make out shapes, like the body slumped in the corner by some barrels.
Oh no. Is it him?
You direct your shadow. You can't tell, it's all in darkness over here. Again, your shadow does not give you better vision, but there is someone slumped down, wearing a cloak. You think you see a glint of the sword. You'll have to... If you want to see more, have to go for yourself.
I light up a little lantern just to be able to see anything in here. It's so cursed dark away from the street. And I do make my way over there, and I let my wandering shadow, unfold as it dissipates after a while.
Then you light your torch and step forwards. As you do so, you see this body slumped. And then there is a movement in the darkness. I'd like you to roll a perception check.
That's one success level.
There's a movement. Some sort of movement in the dark. And for a moment you think you hear a sound. One of the sewer grates being moved. But then you blink and you look, and there's nothing there. There's nothing there. You think you saw a movement in the darkness, but in seconds it was gone. And now there is nothing there, but there was something there, and you look and see that sewer grate has been moved ever so slightly. But how could that be? The time that's passed since you saw it in that grate move must have been a couple of seconds. What could have moved that quickly?
I get a chill down my spine. I was looking around, being very quiet now, trying to ascertain that there's no one else here watching. Then I start making my way over to the body.
The body moves suddenly, coughing heavily. The fang, the yellow fang, the shadows, the mook, they're coming. They're coming for, look to the Wittgenstein,
Richter, no, stay with me, Richter. I'll get you I'll get you there.
The body falls forward. You see a large amount of blood beginning to pool. Is it possible that he was alive just moments ago? Maybe when you first came here he was still alive, but too late now. He slumps in your hands. It is indeed him, Richter.
Richter's dead. If I had been a bit quicker, then... Well, if I'd been a bit quicker, they might have gotten me too. the Yellow Fang. Damn it. I don't even know I don't know anything about where Richter keeps his things, or if there's anything more to be find out about this, but I can't leave him here. I'll hoist him up on his shoulder. By me. Well, he's not that heavy. And I'll start carrying him out and, well, I suppose to the guard, and to make the report.
You'll find the guards. They'll take him in, very surprised. But they know who he is. He did work with them after all. The matter's taken out of your hands. You are faked for finding him. They do ask you a few questions of what happened. What do you say?
I only noticed someone hiding down in a sewer grate. It moved, but then they were gone. I was too slow.
They nod. They say they'll look into it, and they thank you for your service. And they leave you in the night. After all, you are not a member of the Watch. You're not expected to deal with these things, although you can obviously assist. But what's going through your mind? Richter's dead. Dead just before he said he was going to tell you some things he'd been working on. Just before he was looking very suspicious, saying things like we're being watched and we should leave in pairs.
Yeah. This was all somehow connected, it seemed to, with the Chaos Moon that the deputy head was looking into. I wonder if that's connected with this. I do return to the place of the crime and have a look over, see if there's any trace of anything there and around the sewer. I hesitate to go down just there myself, but if there's anything I can find.
Make one perception check as you check the site over with your second sight.
That's a failure. I'm gonna try again. Oh, that's two success levels.
The place reeks of Ulgu, but it's a dark Ulgu. It stings your tongue a little as you taste it. It's not quite Dar energy, but it's not something else about it, something different, something unpleasant.
This is strange. It's as if they are using the Ulgu wind, but mixing it in with something else. Not Dar, then what? I'll need to make inquiries. I need to look into this. But also, he said that I was to go to ask Lady von Wittgenstein about what she could possibly know about her relative and what he was up to, and possibly the place that he was staying.
Indeed, in fact, it was his last words. And then you think to yourself, disappearances? He's just been disappeared. You suddenly are filled with the urge to do this now. You don't think this can wait. You think you know where that Dr. Lady lives. You were given the address when you parted ways. It won't take long to find it if you've forgotten it. Maybe you need to find answers now.
Yeah. There's no time, not really. She was the last one I was with when... Well, she's supposedly a hero of the city. Yeah, she will help. I'm sure she will. If I just present this case... Yes. I must head there now.
And so, you quickly head out into the night, quickly disappearing into the shadows of the city.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play the legendary campaign The Enemy Within for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Edition, published by Cubicle 7. In this fourth part of the series, we are tackling The Horned Rat. Joining us as players in this series are none other than Aaron Hammonds from Queen's Court Games and our dear friend Matthew Dawkins. The music was made by Flowers for Body Snatchers, Wordclock, Minotron Omega, Aegersonus, Apocryphus, Halgrath, and Northumbria, featuring a number of collaborations with other artists, and was used with permission from their label, Cryochamber. Check out their website at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some moody dark ambient for your gaming table. We'd like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, Camilla, Bob Lange, Cameron, Antxon, Graham Barey, and Doug Thomson for their generous support. And we would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible.
If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult of Divinity Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and remember that Skaven are definitely not real, and even if they were, the Emperor has already dealt with that threat.